talk about impeachment, because this whole impeachment thing was basically around you.
Yeah.
And what the president asked Ukraine to do regarding your son. Rudy Giuliani the DOJ is saying Rudy Giuliani, or the Attorney General is right. Rudy Giuliani is funneling information to them. Are they using the Justice Department to try to justify what he did with Ukraine, or to try to get information on you?
Well, they can get all the information they want on me. Every single person under oath in his administration who testified before the House said Biden was clean as a whistle. Biden did his job. Biden has great integrity. On down the line. Now he's firing them one by one after they testified under oath. Nobody, including the Ukrainians, suggested. And you send a man of great stature like Rudy Giuliani to dig up dirt? Come on.
The day after he was acquitted by the Senate, they want your son's travel records from the Secret Service. What is going on?
What's going on? He's deathly afraid to face me. Have you ever, you can't answer it, I know, but rhetorical question, have you ever seen a sitting president spend as much time, money, and effort, including risking being impeached and thrown out of office, to decide to eliminate one of his potential opponents in a primary? I mean, that are running in a primary for the general election? This guy is obsessed with me, and he should be, with good reason, because I will beat him.
They're going to be very surprised when they see the report that I have. I have a report right in the middle of the Obama administration that $5.3 billion in foreign aid is unaccounted for to Ukraine. You think maybe you'd want to slow down aid if $5.3 billion is unaccounted for? Yeah. To figure out, if I'm giving them $400 million for military, maybe only $100 million is getting there, and the other $300 million is going into the hands of the crooked NGOs. And how do you think all those oligarchs become oligarchs? They take our foreign aid.
Sure. So you got to,
big Democratic scam for about 7 years. Started in 2011. We're going to reveal the whole thing. It's not just Biden. A bunch of Democrats, and that's why they're so crazy on the subject of Ukraine, and why they want to literally kill me.
What do you mean other Democrats are involved?
Well, you go back to 2011, Yanukovych laundered $7.5 billion in an American institution. People in that institution were former Obama aides. That's just one story.
So you think people were actually on the take? People that were supposed to be...
No, I don't think it.
You know it.
I can prove it.
In addition to the violations that have been uncovered relative to the Mueller report, I think Donald Trump is no doubt he has asked foreign countries to interfere in our electoral process, period. It's been established. Not a scintilla of evidence that I did anything wrong. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. Not a single shred that I did anything other than my job, and really well.
You know, all this stuff about Hunter Biden wasn't under investigation when Shokin was fired, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is a document from the government of Latvia to the government of Ukraine, just at exactly the time that Shokin is fired. That's one of the reasons he was fired. And it says, I just read it, Burisma Holding Limited and its director, Hunter Biden, are involved in a corruption affair. The following transactions made to Burisma Limited account basically are money laundered. They're $14.6 million that went through 4 banks before it got to Hunter Biden, disguised as loans. This is what you call a smoking gun money laundering case.
They're asking Lindsey Graham. They have him under their thumb right now. They know, he knows if he comes out against Trump, he's got a real tough road for re-election. Number one, I am disappointed, and quite frankly, I'm angered by the fact he knows me. He knows my son. He knows there's nothing to this. Trump is now essentially holding power over him that even the Ukrainians wouldn't yield to. The Ukrainians would not yield to, quote, investigate Biden, because there's nothing to investigate about Biden or his son. And Lindsey is about to go down in a way that I think he's going to regret his whole life. I say, Lindsey, I'm just embarrassed by what you're doing for you. I mean, my Lord.
Where does this go? You have all this documentation.
Well, it's in the right hands now. But I mean, it took me years to get this to them.
So, backing up for a second,
stuff
because the Democrats are saying, you know what, this was all a scheme. They had you over there trying to do all this, opposition research on Joe Biden, which led you to Hunter. But you say, no, that wasn't actually.
How about we start with everything the Democrats say, you can just assume is a lie.
It angers me. It angers me. Especially Trump trying to intimidate witnesses while they're testifying. What kind of man is this? That alone is enough for him to be viewed as a pariah.
Went to Ukraine for the first time like 3 weeks ago to interview a witness, Shokin, who was poisoned. And I have the report, if you'd like to see the report, from the Austrian hospital that concluded that he was subjected to massive mercury poisoning. He's the key witness. And he was poisoned. So I went there to interview him. I did not go to Ukraine at all to get any of this. They gave it to me. They gave it to me. They handed it to me. They say that we went searching for dirt on Joe Biden. No. We were given dirt. We weren't given dirt.
So once you had that,
we were given crimes on Joe Biden. So what was I going to do? Put in my hands. It was given to me, and it was 6 months before he was even a candidate.
There's just such an abuse of power that goes on in America today, but with this president in particular, of people who are black and brown. It's just a pure abuse of power. And the way this guy coddles the white supremacists. And so to see those folks come out of those fields carrying torches and chanting the anti-Semitic bile with faces contorted, and the head of the Ku Klux Klan, the former head, the Grand Kleagle, saying, this is why we elected him. And then him being asked when a young woman got killed, what do you think?
Who do you like for president, sir?
Hillary Clinton.
Do you think whites are superior to African Americans and Latinos?
Well, we are God's chosen people.
There are reports that you, Mayor Giuliani, were telling the president how bad Marie Yovanovitch was, right? And you said, she's kind of got to go. She's a disaster. Why did it take him so long to fire her?
That's not even true. The first time I brought up, I wasn't the one that told him how bad she was. The first time I said to him, Mr. President, I have to report something to you. And this is like 7 months after I was representing him. I have information that your ambassador in the Ukraine fixed 4 criminal cases. That's a testimony from the Prosecutor General of Ukraine, supported by 3 other people. And also, I have a letter that supports it, and she tried to get a case on George Soros' NGO, with whom she is supposed to be very close, dropped. She got the case dropped, and that was a case in which they had collected a lot of dirty information on Trump Jr., and Manafort. And it was suspected that they dropped the case so they could destroy the evidence. We were able to get some of that evidence, and we can prove that that company was involved in feeding dirty information, Ukrainians, to the DNC, a particular woman there named Shalupa. So she was involved. She was involved in corruptly having 4 cases dismissed. There are 6.
Yovanovitch.
Yeah, there are 6 witnesses in Ukraine, all of whom are willing to come here and testify that she blocked their visas because she didn't want the evidence here about the involvement of the embassy in trying to hurt Trump in favor of Hillary Clinton, or their involvement in the preparation of the phony black book. There are 6 different Ukrainians whose visas are held up by the embassy. To this day, Shokin's visa is held up. She said she did it for corruption. But when you look at the report, it says because he was sick from an operation, and the operation took place 2 years earlier. It is clear documentary proof that Madam Yovanovitch committed what we call perjury. She was a left-wing, very close to Soros, hated Trump. Recently, just 2 weeks ago, I got a witness that told me that one of the other things she did, it was known that she used to go around saying, don't pay attention to him, he'll be impeached.
Wow.
But now I have another witness that at a G7, G something, whatever, she went around apologizing for his behavior.
Why didn't he get rid of her right away as soon as he got reports?
There's nobody.
Why did she last so long?
I had met her once years ago. I had nothing against her. The only reason I did this was I had an obligation to tell my president that she's fixing criminal cases.
I want to talk to you about staying in shape, because there are some folks who have recently gotten this race. They don't think you're in shape, and they got in the race because they don't think you're in shape. One of them is Mayor Bloomberg.
Come on.
Go on.
Come on. No, I mean, saying, come on. I welcome the competition.
Someone in his campaign said, or someone said specifically, he has specific concerns about your ability to carry this through to the finish line. What do you say about that?
Watch me. Watch me. The idea that I'm not in better shape than Mayor Bloomberg, physically and otherwise. Look, Trump is so bad as a president, been so corrupt as a president, that everybody in America who's ever been involved in politics, especially if they have $1 billion, thinks they can beat Trump.
Yeah.
Maybe they could. And so what do you have to do? I'm the guy sitting at the top of the pyramid. I get it. I'm a big boy. Never complain, never explain.
What about Vindman?
I don't know Vindman. I didn't investigate Vindman. All I did is watch his testimony, and I saw him lie once or twice.
President said, see ya.
Well, shouldn't the president do that?
Well, I mean, that's what a CEO would do, right? If you're not on board with whatever an agenda is.
If I were the mayor of New York City and you had those feelings toward me that he seems to have toward President Trump, justified or unjustified, you're gone. I'm not going to have somebody who hates me working for me. Or how about the whistleblower? I mean, what we need to know is how long was the whistleblower involved in conspiracies to take out President Trump? I have a suspicion the whistleblower was there at the beginning. January of 2016, there was a meeting of the NSC, staff members. They asked the 3 Ukrainian prosecutors to go get dirt on Manafort and the Trump campaign. The NSC doesn't ask you to go get dirt. They wanted to turn them into the producers of political garbage, which they did. One of the people there who spoke up very, very strongly and made a follow-up telephone call to collect the dirt seems to be the whistleblower. So if it's him, he was involved way back in 16 trying to prevent, like Peter Strzok, prevent him from being president. And then after he became president, nothing else worked. He was like the Hail Mary pass with his phony whistleblower complaint.
Let me ask you this. You mentioned
if it's the same guy, isn't that relevant?
I think so.
Yeah.
What about Anonymous? Anonymous. There's some reports that maybe the White House knows who it is.
I can't tell you that. I wouldn't. I'm not holding back. I don't know that. I don't know the answer to that. I mean, everybody has their suspicions, but I don't know. I think we're all a little clearer on who the whistleblower is, and I think it is devastating if that whistleblower, way back in 16, was working on taking out Trump by using Ukrainians, which is the very, very crime that Trump was investigated for. It's the very, very crime that Donald Trump Jr., but they didn't do it. There's documentary proof that the Democrats did it. There's a text from Alexandra Chalupa, who worked for the DNC, to the comms director of the DNC, explaining very proudly how she got a bunch of Ukrainian foreigners, to turn information over to a reporter named Isakov. Isn't that what they were investigating him for? Taking foreign information and inserting it into the campaign? And she's been free all these years. Meanwhile, they want to put Stone in jail for 9 years. How come this guy hasn't been indicted for money laundering?
I'm going to ask you.
4 years ago.
Give me a copy of that? I want to see.
Of course, I'll give you a copy of it.
Mayor Giuliani.
This is a smoking gun.
This morning, this is what President Trump said about you on Fox News, and I quote here. All right. He said, "Well, I don't know if Joe can make it mentally. He's off there. He's off. There's no question about it. So I don't know if he's going to make it mentally. If he gets through it without cracking up." What's your response?
Mr. President, I can hardly wait. I can hardly wait. You're a serial liar. You're corrupt. And I know you think yourself the handsomest and smartest. And, you know, look, Mr. President, you've made a botch of the job. And so I'm used to bullies. I'm used to bullies. I'm ready. I'm ready.
I wish you were in high school. I could take him behind the gym. That's what I wish.
A smoking gun, money laundering case.
And tonight, I have that smoking gun. I have it right here in my hand, And according to this document, which I obtained exclusively from Rudy Giuliani, Hunter Biden's shady business dealings, they go way beyond Ukraine. This is actually a letter from 2016. You're taking a look at it right there, up close. The Latvian government flagged Ukrainian prosecutors back in 2016, actually in August, no, forgive me, in February 18th of 2016, saying, quote, according to publicly available information, Burisma Holding Limited, and its director, Hunter Biden, are involved in a corruption affair. Now, the letter goes on to show how loan payments totaling nearly $17 million were sent to Burisma from Belize and the UK by way of a Ukrainian bank.
If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. Not a scintilla of evidence that I did anything wrong. Not a scintilla of evidence. Not a scintilla of evidence.